The global Bitcoin takeover has begun. The race to accumulate as much Bitcoin as possible is about to hit fever pitch. Brazil just announced a strategic Bitcoin reserve. Literally, right now, Bitcoin game theory is accelerating on the nation state level. We got a lot to dive into there today. Bitcoin just won a massive court case, and you're going to want to stay until the finish because with all of this happening, when it comes to Bitcoin, things could get out of hand and really fast. How out of hand? Well, $500K to $1 million Bitcoin just may be a lot closer than we think. My friends, we have a lot to be thankful for this Thanksgiving, and spoiler alert, the best is yet to come. I'm Rustin, head of news at Simply Bitcoin, and no one is ready for what's coming. We have massive news today. Buckle up, because it's time to send it!
Bitcoin's been appreciating at 55% a year for the past 4 years. Bonds are depreciating 5% a year. The S&P is appreciating at about 13% a year. It's amazing to me that people would rather have a 20% ARR with 20 vol than 55 ARR with 55 vol. But if you think about it, it's pretty obvious you want the 50% return, not the 20% return. So if you're going to embrace the future, embrace digital transformation, it's going to be more volatile. It's going to be higher performance, but that's the future. So I don't get upset because I know we're winning and Bitcoin's winning. It's pretty obvious to anyone that, can chart the thing that there's a right answer and there's a wrong answer.
If it wasn't obvious Bitcoin was winning before, well, here you go. Just in, Brazil lawmaker proposes $18 billion Bitcoin sovereign reserve. Yeah, one of the biggest economies on the planet has introduced legislation to invest 5% of strategic reserves into Bitcoin. Oh yeah, the race is on. The dominoes are falling, and Brazil is not the only one aping into Bitcoin right now. Want to see game theory in real time? What about all of this announced in one single day? Brazil, absolutely massive. Then we have Vancouver, Canada, making some moves. And then Morocco appears to be repenting. They all come around eventually, and not to mention Suriname's presidential candidate. There's so much more. We don't have time to get to all of them, but after today's show, head over to our Twitter. The link is in the show notes, and you'll see just how ridiculously bullish things are getting. I don't know, guys. I think the sky's the limit. Roll it!
Once we have the Bitcoin Act, which is currently under consideration, passed, where the U.S. government will be buying Bitcoin into its reserves, as well as other countries and other corporates for their treasury assets as well, we could see a $500K Bitcoin or $1 million Bitcoin. The sky is really the limit here. Bitcoin is inherently a scarce asset. You only have 21 million Bitcoins. And the Bitcoin Act, for example, proposes buying 200,000 Bitcoins a year, which would significantly drive up the price.
Like Giga Chad said in the intro too, there is a right answer and there is a wrong answer, and a massive awakening is taking place. I mean, the President of the United States is literally creating a Bitcoin army, and the US making this move, do you know what it does? It literally forces everyone else to follow suit. Like MicroStrategy and corporate treasuries, and of course El Salvador, who laid the blueprint that will eventually bring down the central banker's reign. Now, here is a sitting U.S. senator not just promoting the number go up benefits of Bitcoin, but what it means as a freedom technology that empowers individuals against the state. Roll it.
It's very important that we protect Bitcoin and people who hold their Bitcoin in individual wallets. We don't want to see this asset become owned only by governments, and certainly don't want to see it controlled by governments, because its great virtue is as freedom money. It is infinitely divisible. It can be used all over the world. It is something that you can send from one person to another at a very low cost and very quickly. Its ability to help bring people out of poverty or into the innovator class and the wealthier class is very exciting. And that's why we want to protect individual property rights in Bitcoin and people's individual wallets. Right. There's a phrase, not your keys, not your coin. Your keys are your ability to access your Bitcoin. We want to make sure people have access to their own keys and their own Bitcoin.
That is awesome, and it is insanely bullish. You know what else is insanely bullish? A former CFTC chair that, he's bullish on a U.S. strategic Bitcoin reserve. Check this out.
What do you make about states putting Bitcoin on their balance sheet?
I think it makes a lot of sense. I think it makes a lot of sense. So Trump proposed a Bitcoin stockpile, as you know, not a reserve, but a stockpile. It's a subtle difference. Countries have been stockpiling commodities since the dawn of time. We stockpile oil. We used to stockpile gold. China stockpiles rebar and copper and soybeans. Countries stockpile precious commodities as the world's first digital commodity.
Do they have the financial wherewithal, though, to manage that on a balance sheet?
I'd have to look into Pennsylvania's wherewithal, but I do think it makes sense. I think it makes sense for the United States. I think it's a very forward-looking idea.
Like we said, number go up is awesome, but freedom go up is the revolution. And as Thanksgiving is here tomorrow, give thanks, my friends, that freedom is winning. Boom! Major decision in the Tornado Cash case. Privacy won, smart contracts won, Tornado Cash won, and OFAC lost. This is massive, and as we said when this happened, they violated 2 Supreme Court precedents. The software as speech case, as well as Citizens United deeming money as speech. Now, there is likely much more to come, as we can see here. The fight will always continue, but my friends, we are winning. Check it out. Our legal theory was just validated in court. The Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals has found that the Tornado Cash smart contract cannot be sanctioned. How is Bitcoin winning, Rustin? Didn't Bitcoin crash? What, for 8 hours? To prices not seen since 4 days ago? Get a grip! When I hear this, I want to absolutely unleash the fury, but let's break this down for the left side of the bell curvers. So a $1.5 trillion asset just went up 50% in 3 weeks, and you're afraid of a 7% dip. Better be buying the dip, because Uncle Larry is going straight orangutan on the corn. Look at this. BlackRock, now the fastest growing ETF in history. The largest asset manager on the planet's Bitcoin ETF now has more assets under management than its gold ETF, which is 20 years old today. It looks as if the selling of the past and the buying of the future is taking place as we speak. And you know what happened, really? A bunch of degens with leverage got wiped out. May they be cleansed. You know what they were doing? They were trading their Bitcoin. Do you know what trading Bitcoin is?
Trading Bitcoin is a sign of lesser intellect.
You guys know what rule number 1 is? This was passed down to me from an old coach in college. He would always say, guys, someone would do something stupid, and then he would say, guys, what's rule number 1? And the whole team would echo, don't be a dumbass, sir. And that's what we're here for. That's what we're trying to do. We're here to help. But we are not from the government, okay? Make no mistake. And no seas mamon is right. Hopefully I didn't say anything I didn't mean to say there, but I think I got it. And here is a guy following rule number 1, it appears. Pantera Bitcoin Fund recently achieved an insane milestone, 1,000x. The post-election surge has taken the fund a further 30% higher. The fund's lifetime return is now 131,165%. I wonder what their current outlook on Bitcoin is. Roll it!
You bet your life it's not going to zero?
I used to tell people it could definitely go to zero to try and be, conservative. I don't think it's possible now. 50 million people in the U.S. own it, 300 million people globally. BlackRock and Fidelity are selling it. It really has reached escape velocity.
But you're 745,000. I mean, I heard 13 million from Michael Saylor the other day.
I think it can go, it's going up 3 orders of magnitude since we launched our fund. I think it could go up a 4th, and that puts it at 15 trillion market cap, which it still seems relatively small versus 500 trillion of financial assets. That's doable.
We have a lot to be bullish about, but that's not what it's all about. There is so much more to Bitcoin. In a world, just look around, think for a minute. The materialism, the hate, the tyranny, the theft of the populace by the state. It's crazy. The current rewards and incentives of sin are what is institutionalized by the state. Who do you think rules this world? If there is no freedom, then there is no love. And with Bitcoin, we're not asking for freedom anymore. We're just taking it. We reject this fiat world, and together we're going to build a new one. You want to know what kind of future we could build? I'm about to show you what Bitcoin fixes that nothing else will, and it's actually through an odd form of checks and balances, forcing the evils of this world into compliance. But before we bring it home, look at our likes!
I gotta pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this racket.
Enjoying the show? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and give us a pat while we take a moment to recognize our sponsors, the masters of Bitcoin self-sovereignty, because without self-custody, there is no peaceful revolution. Check out the Bitcoin way. Guys, being that we live in clown world, it's pretty easy to understand the why Bitcoin, but over at the Bitcoin way, that's where you're going to learn how to Bitcoin. Check out their newly revamped website. If you're looking to become a master of Bitcoin self-custody, no one makes it easier. From setting up your first wallet node to inheritance planning to everything Bitcoin sovereignty, they got you covered. Hey, and if you're looking to get started, you can schedule a free 30-minute consultation with the Bitcoin way using that link in the show notes.
Everything you have that's not Bitcoin in terms of purchasing power is going to zero against Bitcoin. Stocks, bonds, fiat money, your property. So the only wealth you're ever going to have going forward is your Bitcoin wealth. So you need to start accumulating immediately, because every single thing that you own is going to zero against Bitcoin, number one. Number two, there's an equal argument to be made against those who are too early into Bitcoin, like myself. What I mean by this is that we were at a meetup, the halving party in El Salvador, and this 9-year-old kid comes up to me and said the exact same thing. Am I too late for Bitcoin? And I'm looking at this 9-year-old, and it suddenly struck me that, you know what? I'm too early in Bitcoin, because the world that will be built because of Bitcoin will happen after I'm gone. I won't see it. I'll be dead. You know, in 20 years, 25 years, I'll be gone. But the world will have gone hyper-Bitcoinization, and that 9-year-old will be living in a much, much different world where violence is demonetized, where inflation is no longer a threat from the state, where you don't even have a nation state. You have no central banks. It'll be a much better world that 9-year-old will live in, and how much Bitcoin they have or don't have won't be really much of a factor anyway, because that's more of a proof of stake mentality than a proof of work mentality. Any Bitcoin you have, whether it's even one Satoshi, gives you, as Stacey has said, gives you you money. You are individually sovereign, and that's priceless, right? So that's the argument. I mean, I'm too early. So everybody, once you get into the vibe, you're in the vibe. And live the life.
This is what it's all about. Spread the truth, and the truth will set you free, because the alternative is a road to hell and despotism. We reject it at all costs. And we also reject weak, evil people that don't value humanity. This is what we're up against. Check out this clip from Ron Paul on Lindsey Graham, and notice the Freudian slip from old Lindsey. Roll it.
The headline for this article says, "Gleeful Graham, Ukraine war all about money." Can you believe that? Yeah. This is disgusting. I found it outrageous. And I mentioned a few things like immoral, wicked, unpatriotic, unconstitutional.
Well, actually, let's listen to Senator Graham himself, who spilled the beans.
This war is about money. People don't talk much about it. But you know, the richest country in all of Europe for rare earth minerals is Ukraine. $2 to $7 trillion worth of minerals that are rare earth minerals, very relevant to the 21st century. Ukraine's ready to do a deal with us. So it's in our interest to make sure that Russia doesn't take over the place. It's the breadbasket of really the developing world. 50% of all the food going to Africa comes out of Ukraine. We can make money and have an economic relationship with Ukraine that'd be very beneficial to us with peace.
The century of perpetual war and destruction of the middle class was brought on by fiat. The military-industrial complex is only possible by fiat. Fiat is an unjust weight and measure. It is an abomination, and there is only one thing that fixes it. Roll it.
The more you learn about money and government control of money, you realize that that is the whole game. Everything else flows from that. Every evil thing that government does is only because they control the money supply. Like, take an evil thing that government does, and I'll explain how it's because they control the money supply, you know? Like, I mean, okay, we fought like a catastrophic 20-year war in Afghanistan that literally killed hundreds of thousands of people, cost trillions of dollars, and thousands of our bravest young boys died, and then tens of thousands committed suicide in the wake of the war, right? Well, just like imagine if they couldn't print the money for that war.
What an absolutely insane year this has been so far. 2025 is going to be absolutely bananas. And I think sometimes we get to, head down in the grindstone. We forget to look up and see and be thankful and grateful for what we have and who we have in our lives. I'm so proud of this team and the way they bring it every day. It's crazy how things work out. I can tell you, if you begin down this path, it's crazy where it just might lead you. Seek the truth and you shall find it, my friends. And how does it go? Oh, yeah, that's right. Buy the truth and do not sell it. I had a personal goal a few years ago. I was sitting in a hotel room after coaching a softball team with my wife. They had a tournament. It was during the 2021 conference. And every time we came back between, I would catch up on the Bitcoin conference, see what was going down. I remember tearing up with the Ross Albright phone in and the Mahler's El Salvador announcement. But that night, I told my wife, you know, one day I think I could be maybe a hype man or MC at one of these. And I always wanted it, if it ever happened, for it to be based on merit and my proof of work, not tagging along or getting a favor. I don't know. Just a personal thing, I guess. But anyway, I have some great news, my friends. It is looking like I will be heading to Bitcoin Alaska in Juneau, and I'm only able to because all of you and your support and our incredible team. Thank you for helping me, a castaway on the island of misfit toys, achieve something the establishment types never thought I could. Shit, I lost it. We're going to be bringing updates on Bitcoin Alaska as they develop, so stay tuned for much more on that, and I hope to see you beautiful people there. Fuck, I'm going soft. All right, but one more thing, guys, and it's going to be tough. But try not to go ape shit on the family this Thanksgiving. Trust me, I'm talking to myself here too. They don't know what they don't know. And remember, this is your family, not the enemy. Save that savage energy up. We're going to need it. Spread the love, baby, and we will blot out the Fiat evil. We love you guys, and thanks for tuning in. It means everything to us. You have no idea. Have a great Thanksgiving. We're going to have content dropping every day for you throughout the holiday. So if you need a Bitcoin fix, we got you covered. Hey, click here for more autistic takes from yours truly, and I'll catch you all next time. Peace.
If you prefer to go down with the ship, f*** you.